Very good morning, my dear students. Welcome back again to this online video session. In today's class, we will be learning about germination of seeds and dispersal. In the previous class, we have learned about the fertilization process. How does fertilization takes place and how does it help in the reproduction and how does it ultimately lead to the reproduction in plants. And then we have studied about the structure of the seed. Now let us give a quick thorough. This is a monocotyledonous seed. Now we have learned that a seed has an outer hard covering which is called the seed coat, isn't it? There is a tiny opening which is called the micropyle. Then it has a store of food. It has a store of food for the baby plant, for the growing baby plant, which is called the cotyledon or the seed leaf. And this is the baby plant. Okay. Now, what happens in the germination of seeds? Germination means it is the process of the mature or the development of the seeds to a seedling. Germination is the process of the development of the seed to a seedling. When the seeds get favorable conditions. And what are the favorable conditions? Adequate water. Adequate means the required amount, that is called adequate. Adequate air, warmth, and adequate light. So I repeat, what is germination? Germination is the process of the development of the seed to a seedling when the seed gets the favorable conditions such as adequate water, adequate air, warmth, and adequate light. Okay. Now, when the seed is placed in the soil, when the seed gets placed in the soil and it gets the adequate amount of water, air, the warmth and the required amount of light, though very little amount of light is necessary. When it gets adequate amount of water, what happens? Water gets into the seed. Water gets into the seed through this tiny opening or hole, that is the micropyle. Understood? Water gets into this seed through this micropyle and makes the seed soft and spongy. Because when water gets into the seed, the hard covering of the seed starts becoming soft and spongy and it starts getting swelled up. It starts getting swollen. So the seeds swell up because water gets into the seed through the micropyle. Okay. Then what happens? Once the seed coat becomes soft enough and the baby plant inside the seed is growing, into embryo and tries to come out of the seed coat ruptures or the seed coat breaks. What happens? The seed coat breaks, or we can say ruptures. The seed coat ruptures. Okay. Now, when the seed coat breaks, this part of the embryo called the plumule, this part of the embryo called the plumule moves upwards to form the shoot or the stem, little stem of the plant. And this part of the baby plant, which is called the radicle, grows a bit to form the roots. And ultimately, that baby plant which comes out of the seeds, is called the seedling. So let us repeat again what happens in the process of germination. Firstly, when the seed gets adequate amount of water, air, then warmth and light, it takes in that water through the opening called micropyle. Water gets into the seed and it starts making the seed and the hard seed coat soft and spongy, and the seeds also start swelling up because the baby plant in the seed is also growing into the embryo. The baby plant is growing into the embryo, embryo. The baby plant is growing into the embryo. At one particular time, what will happen when the seed swells up so much that the seed coat breaks open? This hard covering breaks open, and the part of the baby plant that is growing into the shoot is called the plumule, and the part of the baby plant that is growing into the root, that is the radicle, grows out of the seed. So the plumule and the radicle grows out of the seed. I repeat, the plumule and the radicle grows out of the seed, and the seed with the seed coat breaking open. And it seems as if the baby plant has come out of the seed, and that is called the seedling. And this whole process is called germination. So germination is the process of the development of the seed to the seedling when it gets all these favorable conditions. Okay. Now the question is, how will the seed land on the soil? If it is a land plant, that is plants that grow on land, how will the seed land on the soil? For that, the process by which seeds land on the soil is called dispersal. Dispersal of seeds, or we can say scattering of the seeds. Chhoriye jawa. Scattering of seeds over wide area of land. Scattering of seeds over wide area of land. Now first, let us understand why is there a need for the seeds to get scattered or dispersed over wide area of land from the parent plant. Just imagine that there is a mango plant here. I am very bad at drawing. There is a mango plant here. Now the seeds from all the mangoes land nearby. What will happen? From the seeds, the new plant will grow close together and they will fight or they will compete with each other for minerals in the soil, for water in the soil, for light, isn't it? They will compare for land, because one single mango plant covers a wide area of land. Now just imagine if the seeds of the mangoes fall nearby the mango plants, what will happen? The new plants will compete among themselves for soil, for sunlight, for area, isn't it? For water. So what will happen if there is much competition? It will so happen that many of the offsprings or many of the new plants will die, because they will not get adequate amount of water, sunlight, because of that competition, because they will not get that much amount of area to flourish or grow into a healthy, fulfilling plant. So that is why there is a need that the seeds must be scattered away from the parent plant so that they may get their required space, their required soil, their required amount of water from the soil, their required amount of minerals from the soil, so that they do not have to compete with others to live, to sustain, to survive. Okay? So this is the need for which the seeds must get dispersed. Now how will the seeds get dispersed from the parent plant? It may be by wind, it may be by water, it may be by human, birds, that is by animals, or ultimately it may be by explosion of fruits. Now, what is the dispersal of seeds by wind? That which we see in case of dandelion and maple seeds. You can see in this particular diagram that is given in your book, the seeds of the dandelions have hair-like structures that make them very light so that they can easily fly off to distant places. Understood? Even the maple seeds have wing-like structures. Even the maple seeds have wing-like structures, small wing-like structures. It seems as if they are flying away to distant places, because the wind is helping them to blow. The blowing wind takes them or takes those light seeds away from the parent plant to distant places. So this is how the seeds may be scattered or dispersed by wind. That which we see in case of dandelion and maple seeds. And what are the adaptations that we see in the seeds? The seeds are very light. And how are they light? They have hair-like structures or wing-like structures that helps them to fly along with the blowing wind. They are actually not flying, but the wind can easily blow them away, because those hair-like structures or those wing-like structures make them light. Okay? Now, dispersal by water, that is especially the trees that grow along the coastline. The seeds of those plants get dispersed from one place to another by the flowing water. The very common example is coconut palm. Okay? The seeds of the coconut, they have a fibrous covering. So that fibrous covering helps them to float on water, and it gets washed away and it is dispersed to some distant places. Understood? So what is the adaptation that we see in the seeds that are dispersed by water? They have a fibrous coat, they have a fibrous covering, that which we see in the seeds of coconut palm, because those are the plants that grow along the coastline or along the borders of water bodies, right? Okay. Next is dispersal by animals. This we see in case of nuts, trees, plants with nuts, then berries, that birds feed on those berries, and when they swallow the berries, the fruit gets digested, but the seed does not get digested, and the seed gets passed away with their excreta, and when they fly and they drop their excreta, these seeds get dispersed into various places. Understood? So in this case, the seeds are actually getting passed away from the bodies of the birds with their undigested part or with their excreta. Okay, so again, in case of humans, squirrels even, what do? They take the fruit, they eat it, and then they throw away the seeds. That also they do. So this is how birds and even squirrels help in the dispersal of seeds. Then even humans, for example, we catch fruits from different trees, have it, and then throw the seeds away. And if those seeds get proper favorable conditions, they will show germination. Again, we have certain small plants, that is cockleburr. Yes, cockleburr. In fields, you will see that when you walk through those plants, the seeds have those hook-like structures that get stuck to the clothes of the people, and when they travel to different places, the seeds get dispersed from their clothes. So those seeds of the cockleburr, what adaptation do they have? The seeds have those hook-like structures due to which they get stuck to the bodies of the humans or animals that are traveling through those plants. Understood? And thus their seeds get dispersed or scattered to different places. And the ultimate thing is the ultimate process of dispersal is the explosion of fruits. That is, the fruits ripen, and after they overripe, they break open and the seeds drop on the soil. So that is also a way of dispersal of seeds. That is how the seeds may land up on the soil. Okay, so that we see in case of balsam and peas. You can also arrange some other examples as well for all these 4 different ways of dispersal of seeds. So your homework would be to go through from page 63 to 66 before other ways of reproduction in plants. In the next class, we will be studying about some other ways of reproduction other than fertilization that we see in case of plants. Okay? Till then, children, be prepared with the lessons that have been taught to you till now, because otherwise your lessons will get piled up and it will be a problem for you to learn them just before your exams. Till then, children, till the next video comes up, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of your family members, and study hard for your upcoming exams. Thank you for attending the class.